Hi everyone, welcome to part 2 of how to draw a house plan in AutoCAD 2022. So if you follow the first part, I'll have a link in the description below, but if you follow the first part, this is quite possibly what you would have to work on. Otherwise you would have a free range drawing. You can actually draw whatever you want. This is just to show the basic commands and just some functionality of AutoCAD. So today I want to show you how to draw windows, doors, dimension your drawing, create a block, how to use a wipeout function, hatch, and a whole lot of more functions. But to start with, I'm going to start to hatch the walls. So just to show you an example of one of my working drawings of what it should look like. So all of these red filled is walls, so it's just to show how the walls look and how they display on your drawing. And you can see it gets quite busy with all the annotations and dimensions. So to let the walls stand out, you hatch them a solid color. So to start with, I'm gonna go on to draw, click on the hatch symbol to go into the hatch function. So there's a few options you have to know. So you can click a point. So if you click a point inside of a block, you can see it fills the block. But if you click outside of this block, just in the walls, you can see it fills it out, because I've made sure that all the corners and everything come together as they should. Otherwise it's just going to fill in the additional blocks that I don't want to fill in. So I can select the color I want, and I'm going to keep it red, so I know that this is a wall or a new wall. And then you click it and just right click to exit the command. So it asked me to create a solid hatch because it was default selected on this block over here, but I wanted it solid. But the scale was too small for it to display effectively, so that's why I turned it to a solid hatching. So for step 2, I think we're going to start with drawing a window. Now, as you've seen in part 1, that my wall is 220 thick, so I'm going to use that same thickness for the windows, and I'm just going to make the window 2.5 meters, so that's 250 millimeters, 2500 millimeters. And to draw a window, I'm going to click in the middle there and just copy this line. You're going to the line function by typing L, enter. So if I copy this line, I'm going to make the thickness of the windows 10 millimeters. I'm not sure what the actual size should be, but that's what I'm going to make it. And then if I move this to one of the walls on my building, as you can see, the walls are not disappearing, it's staying there. So if I move this to somewhere on my drawing, you're not going to see the windows very clearly. So it's an easy fix with that. So I just selected the window again. I typed in M to go into the move function and P to select the previous selection. And so I'm going to show you how to use a wipeout function. So the wipeout function wipes out everything behind whatever you want to draw it under or over. So you go in the wipeout function by typing wipeout, enter, and then you start drawing. Click each corner of the object you want to wipe out. So as you can see now, the wipeout is over the window or over the glass that I've drawn in. So I'm going to select the glass and I'm going to right click and go to drawing order and bring to front. So then it displays above the wipeout. So now if you move the window over the wall, you can see it wipes out everything behind the wall. But I want to do something different with the window as well. I want to make it a block so that I don't have to select every line by itself. So there's a few ways of making a block, but the easiest way is to select everything and you type in Ctrl-Shift-C so you can copy with a base point. I'm going to click this as my base point, and then you delete it, and then you type Ctrl-Shift-V to paste it as a block. So now you can see it is a block, everything is connected to each other, and you don't have to select it line by line. So I'm going to move this over my wall, and let's say I want to have another window over here, let's say 2 meters apart, and I'm going to do the same for the other room and just select everything, say CO, enter, and copy it to the other room. So that's easy for one size window, but if you want a second size window, you're going to have to edit a block or make a new block. So to do that, you're going to go to copy that block, and you select that block and you type X for explode. So now it's individual lines again. So what I can do is I can select this whole window and just stretch it to the size that I want. So I want to make this window 1.5 meters, and I know I've made the previous 2.5 meters, so I have to take down 1 meter. No. So I'm just going to make sure that the window, let's dimension the window to see what the size actually is. So for some reason it went to an odd size. So I think we should just redraw these windows. So you can fast forward this part if you want. I'm just going to redraw the windows and make sure that every window is 2.5 meters that I want to use in the rooms. So 2.5, and I'm going to select this that I've exploded, and I'm going to stretch it to 2.5. Then I'm going to select the whole thing, Control Shift C to pick a base point, delete, Control Shift V to paste a block. So in this case I am very sure that this window is 2.5 meters, and now I can move it to my wall, and it automatically takes out the hatching or puts it behind the wipeout. The same thing for this wall, and there you have 2 windows of the same size, 2.5 meters. So for the other window I want to make it 1 meter. So just to show you again, I'm going to select the window, type in X for explode, type enter, and then you have individual lines again, and make sure that this window is 1 meter wide. So I'm going to draw a line above it of 1 meter. I'm going to select this and stretch it, and there you have a window that's 1 meter wide. And then I'm going to use a quick function to create a block again, Control Shift C, select the base point, hit delete, Control Shift V to paste that block. So there you have another size window. So there's 2.5 meters and then a 1 meter window. So this one I'm going to move to the bathroom. So that side of the house has windows now. So I want windows on the other side of the house as well. So for the living room I'm going to use the same size window, the 2.5 meters, as well as for the dining room. And for the kitchen I'm going to use a 1 meter window. And I think that's enough windows for the house. So I don't know if you've noticed, but I select something with a blue block. Everything that's inside the block that doesn't cut the sides of the block is selected, and nothing else. But if I select from the other side with the green block, everything it touches, it selects. So that's just the difference between the two ways of selecting. So next I want to use make another block, but I want to put in a door or a few doors into the house. So where I'm from, a standard door size is 900 millimeters. So I'm going to start with a line that's 900 millimeters wide, and then draw a circle by typing C, enter, and draw another line. And I'm going to use the trim function, so TR, or that little scissor up there, enter. Okay, so that is the way the door swings open. So you want to put in the fittings into the wall for the door as well. So for the outside walls, I know it's going to be 220 deep, so 220. And I'm going to make it a thickness of 60. All of this is just sizes that I'm thinking up as we go. I'm sure most of them are not correct, but it's just to show the basic drawing principles in AutoCAD. So I'm going to copy this one to that side of the door and move this one into place. So for this block, I'm going to use the same wipeout function as I used in the previous for the windows. So type in wipeout again. Start drawing there because I wanted to cut out the wall. So as you can see, again, it's crossed over the drawing that I don't want it to cross over. So I'm going to select everything behind the wipeout. As you can see, I'm doing it with the blue select and not the green one, otherwise it would select the wipeout as well. So I've selected the door, and now I'm going to change the drawing order to bring this to front. So as you can see, it doesn't look very good because the wipeout lines are showing. So you can hide those lines by typing wipe out and typing F for frame, enter, and you can switch it off. So as you can see now, the door's there, but you can see, I don't know if you can see it, but you can see the grid at the back is wiped out. So you can select this whole thing again. So the quick version of creating a block, select the base point, delete, Control Shift V to paste, and there you have a working block with a wipeout inside of it. So I want this door to open. As you can see, the internal walls are 110, and those are 220. So to get the door, just a second. So I'm going to rotate this door by going to, you can type in R, enter, or you can select the rotate function up there. And I'm going to select my door to rotate it. So this can be an outside door, so it can use the 220 dimensions as stated. So I'm going to put a door here inside of the hallway. So just to get it exactly on top of that wall, I'm going to move it over, and as you can see, I have to bring this block to the front as well. So bring to the front, and it wipes out that piece. So as you can see, now that I've taken away the frame of the wipeout, the windows are not displaying correctly. So I can go into block editor by double clicking on that block, saying OK, because I want to change all of the blocks at once, not one by one. So what I can do now, just close this. So what I can do now is select the wipeout, go to drawing order, send to back. So as you can see, now my window is displaying correctly. I'm going to close the block, and it should update every block in the drawing, as you can see that it has done. So now I have to do the same for the smaller windows. Double click the block to go into the block editor. So as you can see, I've selected the wipeout. So now I can go to drawing order, send to back. Close the block editor, and all of the blocks on the entire drawing that's the same as this one will update. So now for the door, this is now outside door. Let's just move it over to the kitchen. So the door's in the kitchen, and I'm going to use another one to come into the living room. So I'm just going to go CO enter, select that block, right click to enter, go over to this side. So I want the door to open to the window side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to modify, mirror, and I'm going to mirror this block. So what you can do now is move it up to where you want it. So I've selected the wrong starting point, so I want that corner of my block to go directly over the wall. Now you can move it up as far as you want. So now I have to create another block for the smaller doors, for the internal walls. I'm going to copy this one, then I'm going to select it. I'm going to hit X for explode, enter. Then all that I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch this to 110. So I'm going to deduct 55 from the front. And I'm going to select this as well. This side. Say stretch, enter. And deduct 55 from that side. And now the wipeout is stretched as well. So now I can select everything again. Control Shift C. Click on a space point, delete, Control Shift V to create a block. Now I know there's a few ways to create a block, but this is the one I prefer because it's much quicker than any other way that I know. The other ways are better in the sense that you can create a block and store it somewhere that you want to use it again, and you can name it and you can give a description for each block. But in this drawing, I'm just going to use it in this drawing and I'm not going to use it anywhere else. So that's why I'm creating the block this way. So now from the kitchen to the dining room, I know there's not going to be a wall between the dining and the living room, but in this example, that's the way I'm going to do it. Okay, and then an interior wall for the bedroom. Needs a door as well, so I'm going to rotate. You can type in R, enter, or click on the rotate function. And just rotate it up 90 degrees. I'm going to select this base point, move it to that corner, and shift it up just a little bit. You can do it to a precise measurement. I'm going to make it 150. So the same with the door for the bathroom. I want to keep that same distance, so I'm just going to click on that corner instead of the block itself. So I'm going to click that corner, drag it over, and there you have doors and windows right throughout your layout. So what you can do to complete it even further, I'm just going to show you an example. There's a dining room here with a dining table and dining chairs. Here's a sofa, a TV. So what I can do, what I'm going to do before the next video is I'm going to copy this to my drawing, but I would encourage you to draw your own to populate your drawing as well. So just before I sign off this video, I'm going to show you how to use dimensions. So before you start, usually you put dimensions on the layout of the drawing because you use the layout to print in scale. So if this window is going to be scale 1 to 100, it's going to be way too big. So if I change the size of the viewport in here, let's say viewport, to go into the viewports, click OK, start to draw, and you can make this any size you want. If you wanted to make it A1 size, you can type in the dimensions. If you wanted to make it as big as the drawing itself, scale 1 to 1, you can do that as well. So this window, as you can see, is still too small to display 1 to 100. So what you want to do is, if you want to, you can create a custom scale size. So I can add one, and let's say I want to make it 1 to 500. I'm sure it's going to fit and it's going to be way too big. So for every paper unit, you're going to use 500 drawing units. You type OK, OK, and then you go to where this drop down arrow is and you select the one you've just created, and as you can see it fits into the viewport. So to fix the viewport to fit onto this white example of a paper, you can go to Layout, right click on that, say Page Setup Manager. You can modify it, and it's just like plotting a drawing. So I'm not going to select a printer for now. I'm not going to select a paper size. I'm going to say Extent because I want everything that's displayed to fit onto that paper in the center of it and to fit on it. And I click OK, and then stretch that example of a paper to the whole viewport. You can just say Close. So now if you want dimensions, you must make sure that your viewport has a scale, and you can lock the drawing into the viewport so it doesn't move by accident. So now if you go to dimension, and let's dimension this room. So as you can see, it's put it in dimension of 4000 millimeters or 4 meters. So if you want to change the way this displays, if you want to make the arrows a bit bigger, you can type, let me just show you an example. You can type in PR, enter, to bring up the properties of whatever you selected. And then you can change the arrow size. Let's say I want to make my arrow size as 0.2, just for, so it's changed it a little bit. Let's just make it bigger so you can see the difference, 0.5. So it's changed the arrow size. So you can go down here to where it says text. So you can change the text size as well. So let's say I don't want all these zeros to display in my dimension. So you can go to Precision and just select the amount of decimal points you want to show. So as you can see, the farther you go down, the more decimal places it shows. So that's an easy way to use dimensions. So you go to Dimensions, Linear or Angled, whatever you want. If you want to dimension an arch, you can use that as well. A radius, a diameter, angular, and let's say I want to use Continue. So I want to continue on that last dimension I've put in, but I don't want to dimension the wall as one thing, bathroom, wall, and then that room as well. So as you can see, it has used the properties of the last dimension that I've updated. So if you want to permanently update, so if let's just see, if you start a new dimension, you click on it, you say it defaults back to the default settings that was set for your dimension. So you can update that by going to Format, Dimension Style. The standard one, as you can see, is highlighted, so you can modify that. And over here you can go to Symbols and Arrows. You can change the arrow size over here. You can change the text size over here. So that's the only two things I think I've changed. So let's just make it the same so I can show you example. 0.5. Okay. And then you say Standard, Set as Current. Close. So it updates everything. Oh, I forgot to change the precision as well, but you can update that in the Format Dimensions. So I would encourage you before we go into draw this in a 3D model, I would encourage you to populate your house with furniture, with living room set, with the dining set, populate the kitchen with cupboards, the bedrooms with cupboards, the bathrooms with a bath, a shower, a toilet, just to see if your layout is up to scale, up to size, and then we'll continue with part 3 next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.